In today's video, we will explore two crimes which occurred in the intriguing world of the Genovese family, one of the notorious 5 families of the New York Mafia. Our focus will be on a bank robbery and a murder which followed it involving members and associates of the Genovese family. We will delve into those crimes and how an associate of the Genovese family not only took part in these crimes and got away scot-free, but also received a $300,000 settlement. The New York Mafia consists of 5 well-organized crime families, each led by a boss. These 5 families are 5 Italian-American mafia groups operating in New York City. They were established in 1931 by Salvatore Maranzano after he emerged victorious in the Castellamarese War, a violent conflict between Joe Masseria and Salvatore for power. Salvatore restructured the Italian-American gangs in New York City into the Maranzano, Profaci, Mangano, Luciano, and Gagliano families, which are now known as the Bonanno, Colombo, Gambino, Genovese, and Lucchese families, respectively. Each family was assigned a specific territory and an organized hierarchy. Salvatore also declared himself capo di tutti I capi, or boss of all bosses, establishing himself as the supreme authority in the mafia. However, Salvatore's reign was short-lived as he was assassinated, leading to the abolishment of the role and the establishment of the Commission by Lucky Luciano. The Commission oversaw mafia activities in the United States and mediated conflicts between the families. The Commission comprised of the bosses of the 5 families, the Chicago Outfit, and the Buffalo Crime family. The Commission met to address collective concerns and reconcile internal disputes. Despite occasional tensions and hostilities, this arrangement ushered in a new era of cooperation and success for the Italian-American Mafia. The Mafia families operate with a structured hierarchy. The boss, also known as the Don, holds the highest position of authority within the organization, serving as the undisputed leader. The underboss is the second in command, wielding significant power and influence. Often a close family member, such as a son groomed to one day take over the family business, the underboss is the person in charge of all capos and its soldiers and manages day-to-day affairs. The consigliere serves as a counselor and advisor to the boss. Occupying the 3rd highest position, the consigliere is a trusted friend and confidant, usually the number 3 man in the family. Meanwhile, a capo is a ranking-made member who leads a crew of soldiers within the family and is similar to a military captain who commands soldiers. Soldiers, also known as made men, are members of the family who carry out its directives and maintain its operations. Despite being at the lowest rank, soldiers command respect within the organization. A soldier's main responsibility is to generate income and share a portion of the profits with their capo. They also act as enforcers for the family, engaging in activities such as intimidation, threats, violence, and even murder. The soldier is obliged to obey orders from his capo to commit murder for his crime family. As a made man, a soldier is bound by the Mafia's code of omertà, the Mafia code of silence and code of honor, and must serve loyally for life. Associates are individuals who are a part of a crew but have not been made. They commit crimes under the supervision and protection of made members, sharing a portion of their illegal earnings with their superior. To transition into a made man, an associate must undergo an induction process that includes swearing the oath of omertà, and in some cases committing murder. Upon completion of the induction ceremony, the associate becomes a made man and holds the rank of soldier in the family. Promotion from associate to soldier occurs after demonstrating loyalty and reliability while working under a current family member. An associate can only be promoted to soldier after a period of being on record with an incumbent member of a family. He must be sponsored by the incumbent soldier's capo, promoted by the underboss, and personally cleared by the family's boss. Over several decades, the 5 families amassed substantial power and wealth. However, the implementation of the RICO Act in 1970 marked a turning point, leading to a decline in mafia influence. This legislation significantly hampered organized crime activities, resulting in numerous convictions and prompting many mafia members to cooperate as informants. Although the 5 mafia families in New York City remain active, their influence has waned over time. Sabatino Lombardi worked at a restaurant in Little Italy, where he formed connections with various organized crime figures, including Joe Zito, who was a soldier within the Genovese family. Joe led a crew that reported to Rosario Genghi, a Genovese family capo. Sabatino and Michael D'Urso eventually joined Joe's crew and actively participated in his loan sharking operations. Carmine Polito, Sabatino's cousin, owned and operated a pizzeria in Queens and had a penchant for gambling. He had borrowed money from the Genovese family's loan sharks, including Sabatino and Michael, to settle his gambling debts. Joe would provide the money to Sabatino, who would loan some of it out and then pass the rest along to Michael, who then would loan it out to Carmine, among others. After Rosario Genghi went to prison in 2002, Salvatore Apparo became the acting capo. Joe began reporting to him. Salvatore started directly providing the money to Michael for lending purposes. By 1993, Carmine owed hundreds of thousands of dollars to multiple loan sharks, with approximately $70,000 owed to Michael. Carmine, Michael, and Sabatino frequently played cards at Michael's social club in Williamsburg, Brooklyn, and the trio became close friends. Mario Fortunato was another close friend of Carmine's. Mario co-founded Fortunato Brothers Bakery, a well-known Italian bakery in Williamsburg, and was a contemporary of Michael's father. Mario's involvement in Genovese family activities primarily revolved around participating in high-stakes card games with Carmine, Sabatino, and Michael at an exclusive social club on Mulberry Street in Manhattan that was operated by Genovese family soldier Tommy Sestaro. Sabatino provided the necessary introductions to allow Carmine and Mario to attend the club. Michael and Mario had a strained relationship, and Michael viewed Mario as arrogant. On several occasions, Michael physically assaulted Mario over perceived offensive remarks he had made. Despite that, the two continued to see each other during card games frequented by Carmine. For nearly 4 decades, Mario had maintained a friendship with Alfred Driano, a 72-year-old vault attendant at a Manhattan branch of Chemical Bank. In 1993, Mario introduced Alfred to Carmine, mentioning that Alfred worked at the bank. Subsequently, 2 individuals approached Alfred, seeking his help in robbing the bank. Alfred declined their offer and told Carmine and Mario about what happened. They warned him that these men were rough guys, that he was in deep now and could not back out, and that he would be paid for his assistance. The 2 men came again later and tried persuading Alfred to help them in the robbery by asking him to open the door to the vault area when the armored truck guards arrived with a delivery of money. Alfred claimed that they were not able to convince him to help them rob the bank. On December 21st, 1993, the bank was robbed. 2 masked men armed with guns forcibly entered the vault area, striking Alfred in the back with a hard object, and stealing $1.5 million. Following the robbery, the police searched the getaway van and recovered approximately $537,000 and a business card from Fortunato's family bakery. Carmine received around $80,000 to $90,000 for his role in planning the robbery. He participated in the robbery since he wanted to pay off his loan sharking and gambling debts. After the robbery, Alfred complained that he had not been paid. Rosario Genghi told Michael that Alfred needed to be silenced. To do this, he wanted Michael to ensure that Carmine and Mario pay him off. Carmine did not pay Alfred off, and afterwards, Rosario and a member of his crew physically assaulted him at his pizzeria. Mario told Alfred that he had been beaten for failing to pay him his share of the bank robbery money and had been given 24 hours to pay him. Mario arranged for a third party to deliver $10,000 to Alfred. Alfred was subpoenaed years later in connection with the robbery investigation, and he stated that he denied any involvement in the robbery based on Mario's advice. In November 1995, Carmine and other members of the Genovese family pleaded guilty to federal charges related to the chemical bank robbery, resulting in Carmine spending several years in prison. Despite the government highlighting Mario's ties to the robbery in order to establish that he was associated with the Genovese family, Mario was never officially charged. The majority of those involved in the chemical bank robbery were members of a Genovese family crew that reported to Genovese capo Alphonse Malangon. During the time of the bank robbery, Joe Zito did not want any attention from law enforcement, and so he kept a low profile. He explicitly stated that he did not want anyone from his crew being involved in any armed robberies. After the robbery, Carmine began spending more time with members of Alphonse's crew. Carmine allegedly did this so he could be involved in more serious crimes, settle his debts, and potentially become a made member of the Genovese family. Sabatino became angry upon learning that Carmine was hanging out with Alphonse's crew. Despite Sabatino's efforts to intervene and stop Carmine from hanging out with Alphonse's crew, he was reprimanded by Alphonse, who told him that he had no authority to dictate what Carmine can and cannot do, since he was not a made member of the Genovese family. Subsequently, Sabatino complained to Joe, prompting him to contact Alphonse directly. Joe told Alphonse that he didn't want Carmine hanging out with his crew. Alphonse agreed, stating that he would stop it. During 1994, Carmine and his cousin John Imbrico, who was an associate of the Bonanno crime family, asked another one of their cousins, Angelo Sarasulo, to kill Michael and Sabatino. Allegedly, Carmine told Angelo that Michael and Sabatino had previously set Carmine up for a robbery, that Carmine owed them a lot of money, and that they were pieces of shit who had to go. The robbery Carmine is referring to is a 1993 armed robbery that took place at Michael's social club while he, Carmine, and others were playing cards. During the robbery, $700 was stolen and Carmine was shot in the leg. According to Michael, Carmine believed that he had been behind the robbery. Angelo claimed he agreed to participate in the murder because he wanted to get a reputation and because Carmine promised him that Mario and others would pay him for the murder. Angelo questioned Carmine, asking him if he got permission from higher-ups in the Genovese family for the killings. Angelo did not mention Carmine's response, or whether Carmine responded at all. Mario gave Angelo one of Carmine's guns for the murder. However, when Angelo and John went to ambush Sabatino and Michael, Angelo backed out at the last minute. Subsequently, Carmine asked Angelo to find someone else to carry out the murders. Angelo then recruited Anthony Bruno, a friend of both him and John and an aspiring mobster, who agreed to the plan to enhance his standing with connected people. The original scheme was for Anthony and John to carry out the shooting, while Angelo drove the getaway car. But Anthony also hesitated and failed to carry out the hit when the opportunity arose. By late November 1994, Carmine owed Sabatino $50,000 and Michael $10,000, and he wanted the murders done before a certain date in order to avoid repaying the debts. 3 days before Carmine's debt to Sabatino was due, Michael was at a Genovese Family social club playing cards. The door was locked from the inside to prevent any unwanted persons from entering the club. Carmine and Mario later joined the game and persuaded Michael to invite Sabatino, which he did. Sabatino eventually arrived. John, Anthony, and Angelo arrived later. Sabatino and Michael were sitting next to each other during the card game, with John and Anthony standing directly behind them. At some point during the card game, Anthony pulled out his gun, placed it to the back of Michael's head, and fired. Angelo then ran out of the club in order to start the car for their escape, while Anthony and John began shooting at Sabatino. After the shootings, Carmine and Mario ran out of the club. Anthony and John followed them and got into the getaway car with Angelo. He drove the car to an impound yard in Brooklyn, where they abandoned it. Carmine later picked them up and drove to a diner in Queens. Mario walked home and went to bed. Sabatino died from his wounds, but Michael survived. Hours after the shootings, Mario told several people, including NYPD detectives, that he had left the club before the shootings. However, upon learning that Michael had survived, Mario confessed that he had been at the club during the shootings but maintained that he did not witness who fired the shots. He stuck with this story, telling it both to the local police investigating the shootings and to the FBI years later when he was arrested in January 2002. Following the shooting, everyone involved decided to lay low due to concerns and fears of potential retaliation from Michael. John, Carmine, and Angelo met with Mario in Long Island City before traveling to Manhattan in Mario's car to pick up Anthony. The group then went to New Jersey to come up with a plan. On the way to New Jersey, Carmine told Anthony, "We are all together now. Just calm down." They collectively agreed to stick together and not tell nobody who did nothing. During the trip, Carmine discussed plans to travel to Italy with Mario, while the other 3 men intended to head to Florida. Carmine and Mario dropped off the others at a train station, where they boarded a train to North Carolina. However, a few days later, the 3 men returned to New York City by bus to go into hiding. Carmine had no intention of attending Sabatino's wake or funeral. Joe and Salvatore ordered Mario to attend the services. In December 1994, when the police questioned the men, Each of them denied any involvement in the shootings and claimed not to have seen the shooters. This was suspicious to the police, as to their knowledge, the three men were the only individuals in the locked, private social club with Sabatino and Michael that night, and they were the only ones who emerged unharmed. After the shootings, Mario sought protection from Genovese Family capo, Tough Tony Federici, in fear of retaliation from Michael. Meanwhile, Carmine began associating once again with Alphonse's crew. Rosario tried to get permission from higher-ups in the Genovese family for Michael to kill Carmine, but Alphonse successfully intervened on Carmine's behalf, and Michael was told not to retaliate. After Salvatore became acting capo, he was told by his superiors that if anything happened to Carmine, he would be held personally responsible. Despite clear warnings from his superiors, Salvatore hired someone to kill Carmine, which was unsuccessful. In June 1998, while Carmine was still incarcerated due to his involvement in the chemical bank robbery, Michael cooperated with the government by wearing a wire to record conversations with various organized crime members, including Salvatore. In one of these recorded conversations, Salvatore disclosed that Alphonse had tried to release Carmine to a crew in the York family, a move that Salvatore vetoed, citing that Carmine belonged to him. In January 2001, over 6 years following the shootings, Mario's brother, Michael Mario, was served with a federal grand jury subpoena by the FBI. They informed him that Mario was under investigation for the 1993 chemical bank robbery. During his grand jury testimony, Michael Mario revealed that he had informed Mario about the FBI's claim linking Mario to the robbery and the possibility of his arrest. Mario responded saying, "Let them do whatever they want to do. I have nothing to do with anything." Additionally, Michael Mario stated that his brother couldn't recall any details from the night of Sabatino's murder and speculated that he might have fallen because maybe someone pushed him when the shooting began. Mario also told his brother that he did not see who shot Sabatino. Later, in October 2001, Angelo's father, Giuseppe, was also summoned to testify before the grand jury. During the trial, Angelo explained that in late 1994, he had informed his father that he didn't witness the shootings. Angelo was present when the FBI served the grand jury subpoena to his father. At that moment, Angelo informed the agents that he too had not seen who shot Sabatino or Michael. In 2002, Anthony Bruno, Angelo Sarasulo, John Imbrico, Mario Fortunato, and Carmine Polito were arrested for Sabatino Lombardi's murder. Following their arrests, Carmine told Angelo that they all had to stick together. In a subsequent conversation in prison with Angelo, Carmine expressed concerns about Anthony and whether he would cooperate with the government. Carmine promised to provide Anthony with legal representation. After this conversation, Carmine arranged for an attorney to visit Anthony, and the lawyer proceeded to let him know that all her fees had been covered. However, Anthony declined the lawyer's services. Mario also made a failed attempt to hire a lawyer for Anthony. Anthony agreed to cooperate with the government. In August 2002, Anthony Bruno, John Imbrico, Mario Fortunato, and Carmine Polito were indicted by a federal grand jury in an 8-count superseding indictment. Count 1 charged all 4 defendants with racketeering conspiracy and violating the RICO statute by conspiring to commit the predicate racketeering acts enumerated in Count 2. Count 2 charged Mario and Angelo with racketeering and conducting the affairs of the Genovese family enterprise through a pattern of racketeering activities, consisting of 5 predicate acts. The acts are: 1. Conspiring to murder Sabatino and Michael; 2. Murdering Sabatino; 3. Attempting to murder Michael; 4. Corruptly endeavoring to influence Michael's grand jury testimony; and 5. Conspiring to rob and robbing the chemical bank branch. Count 6 charged all 4 defendants with Mario's false statement to the FBI that he, too, did not know who did the shootings. Count 7 charged all 4 defendants with Angelo's obstruction of justice in trying to influence Giuseppe's grand jury testimony. And Count 8 charged all 4 defendants with Mario's obstruction of justice in trying to influence Michael's grand jury testimony. The indictment also sought forfeiture of $1.6 million and certain other assets. On September 26, 2003, Anthony pleaded guilty to murder in aid of racketeering as part of a cooperation agreement. Following his testimony for the government during Carmine and Mario's trial, Anthony received a 10-year prison sentence. On January 10, 2003, John entered a guilty plea for RICO conspiracy and conspiracy to defraud the government through making false statements and obstructing justice. His plea deal outlined a 20-year sentence. Although John did not testify at Carmine and Mario's trial, portions of his plea allocution transcript were presented to the jury. In these excerpts, John confessed to conspiring with Angelo and Mario to kill Sabatino and Michael, plotting with Mario, Carmine, and Angelo to provide false information to the FBI and influence grand jury witnesses' testimonies, and attempting to tamper with Giuseppe's grand jury testimony. On January 28, 2003, after a 10-day trial, the jury found Carmine and Mario guilty on all charges specified in a revised superseding indictment and returned a forfeiture finding of $275,000. Subsequently, on June 6, 2003, Carmine and Mario were sentenced principally to life imprisonment and ordered to forfeit $275,000 jointly and severally. On September 14, 2004, the Federal Court of Appeals overturned the convictions of Carmine and Mario on grounds of insufficient evidence for a RICO conspiracy charge. The judges ruled that the case should be pursued in state court as it did not constitute a federal crime. Following this decision, Mario and Carmine faced state charges of second-degree murder in connection with Sabatino's death and were tried together. Mario opted for a judge to decide his case, while Carmine chose a jury trial. Carmine was acquitted, but Mario was found guilty by Justice Joel Goldberg, who provided no explanation for his decision, either verbally or in writing. On April 21, 2008, Mario received a sentence of 15 years to life. Subsequently, on February 9, 2010, Mario's conviction was vacated, and the indictment was dismissed since the verdict was against the weight of the credible evidence. Mario Fortunato won a settlement of $300,000 on December 19, 2014, following the overturning of his conviction for the 22 months he spent in state prison. Michael D. Urso called the settlement a complete disgrace. He said, "I lived, my cousin died. My cousin Tino's wife, his mother, his children, they went through torture. For them to have to see him on the street every day, my heart bleeds for them." Thank you for watching.